In this lecture, we're going to start writing reusable code by using functions. So far, we've been using the variable dump function to output data into the page. It's a function defined by the PHP language. PHP has dozens of functions. However, we're not limited to PHP's functions. Custom functions can be defined by us. Let's look at an example. In our script, we've written a chunk of code to generate the status of a payment based on a number. This solution works, but it could be improved further. We may want to generate the payment status for various places in an application. For example, we may want to output this information on a dashboard. If the buyer wants an invoice, this information could be rendered in a PDF file. Lastly, we may want to display this information after a buyer submits payment information. In total, we have 3 different locations where this information could appear. As it stands, we would have to copy and paste this code for the information to be displayed. It would be convenient if we could write the code once and use it anywhere. That's the purpose of a function. Functions allow us to write logic once. This logic can be repeatedly executed anywhere in our code base. Let's try defining a custom function. The goal of this function will be to provide the status of a payment. Above the current code, write the following. Function getStatus. Custom functions can be written by typing the function keyword. This keyword is followed by the name of the function. Function names follow the same rules as variable names. Unlike variable names, we don't have to start the name with a $ character. It's common practice to use camel casing for function names. After the name, we can add a pair of parentheses and curly brackets. We're going to ignore the parentheses. It's something we'll circle back to. Inside the curly brackets, we can write the body of the function. Let's move our logic into the function. Similar to before, we're indenting the code for readability. This is always true for code written in curly brackets. Next, we must invoke the function. Invoking a function is another way of saying running the code from within the body of a function. By default, PHP does not execute code inside a function. We must explicitly invoke the code. Oftentimes, you may hear developers say call a function or run a function. It means the same thing. A function can be called by typing the name of the function followed by a pair of parentheses. Let's call the getStatus function after defining it. After making those changes, the same output has been rendered. That's perfect. We've successfully defined a custom function. This function can be called an unlimited number of times. There are a few things worth mentioning. Firstly, the function can be defined anywhere. At the moment, we've defined the function first and called it afterward. In this instance, the order does not matter. We can move the function definition below the invocation like so. The same result occurs. As long as the function is defined without interference, our code should work. So, what do I mean by interference? Let's wrap our function with an if statement. For the condition, use the following value, true. As you might guess, the code inside the conditional statement will always execute. However, that doesn't mean the function is immediately available like before. An undefined error gets produced from our script. Functions inside conditional statements are not immediately available. The conditional statement must execute before the function is defined. However, we can move the conditional statement above the invocation to make the code work. If we run the script again, things should work. Everything is back to normal. This can be a gotcha with PHP. I always recommend defining your functions before executing additional logic. By doing so, your functions should be readily available. It's a common practice among developers. I'm going to remove the conditional statement wrapped around the function. There's one last thing I want to mention. Functions cannot be defined twice. They're like constants. If we attempt to define a function twice, PHP will complain. That's something to be aware of. In the next lecture, let's keep exploring additional features of functions.